Good morning, sports fans. This is George with Custom Tied Flies and Guide Service. And today we're going to do a tutorial on custom tied version of Lance Egan's Rainbow Warrior. The ingredients are: the hook is a standard gap, Standar Shank, 60-degree jig hook. You can also tie it on a caddis hook or anything with a bend to it. Excuse me. So the thread I'm using is red. It's a flat thread. I'm using Danville Fly Master in a 140 and a 70 denier, and I'll show you why here in a minute. The bead on it is a silver slotted tungsten bead, and I'm using Wholesale Fly Company's slotted tungsten beads. The tail is pheasant tail barbs. You can get them anywhere you want. I like Nature Spirits, but I mean, you know, of course, it's a cock pheasant, so you know you can shoot them if you want. The body and the wing case is pearl tinsel. I'm using for this size, I'm using Vivus pearl tinsel in medium, and then the wing case is Vivus pearl tinsel in large. Excuse me. The thorax is Wapsi Sow Scud dubbing in rainbow. So here we go. Like usual, I tie these in pieces. I do the underbody first, and I like to use a few wraps of 0.02 lead wire to hold the bead up front. You take your 140 denier red, build you a thread base going back this way. Come up across the wire. You put your thumb about midway up the wire, take you a couple of loose wraps, and that kind of gives you something that you can reef down on to hold that wire in place. And then just using 3 little pheasant tail barbs to suggest that tail. A little shorter than the hook shank. A couple of pinch wraps here to hold it in place. I'm going to even that tail up. There we go. Pull that back, start building you a little thread ramp getting up to that lead wire behind the bead. There we go. And then a little whip finish, 3 turns. And then you're just going to give that a little coat of head cement. just kind of glue all that stuff in there, make sure it's good and secure. It reinforces everything, makes increases the longevity of the fly. Once that's all cured, I do my 140 denier, and only this time I'm going to start my wraps up here. Now I want to make sure that I have my thread flat as I can get it. And see, I got my Vivus tinsel on a utility spool or a utility bobbin. I want to make sure that my thread is as flat as it can be. So I'm going to spin it counterclockwise, leave it hang until it doesn't want to spin on its own anymore. Then it'll start wanting to spin back clockwise. There we go. Now it's nice and flat. Then I'm just going to bring that forward. So I got a nice smooth transition. We'll make sure that all that, everything under there is all good and covered up. Then I'm going to spin that thread tight. And that's the underbody. And this 70 denier is what I'm going to use to finish the fly. I could use 70 all the way across, but 140 is just a hair wider. Gives me a little better transition. I'm gonna bring this pearl tinsel forward. Gotta make sure that those wraps are touching so that you have a nice even coloration. Gotta watch that real close. Right there, try to spread a little bit. There we go. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to paint that with bone dry Solares. You can paint the thread before or you can paint it after. Typically I paint it before, but this time I'm painting it after. All right. Now I got my large Vivus tinsel. And it can be a little challenging to get it right on top, but you know, you can turn your vise a little bit to make sure you're getting it right on top. Gotta account for the thread pull. All right. And you just want to bring the thread back about a bead width, maybe a little better, before you put your Rainbow Sow Scud dubbing in there. You're not looking for a big buildup. Alright, bring that wing case over to the top. Take a couple of wraps, get that nice and tight. Trim that off. Save the rest of that for later. You can trim these fibers up. And then we're going to do a wet whip with more of the Solares bone dry. Hit that with the light. And there you go. The Lance Egan's Rainbow Warrior custom tied version. Excuse me. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can find this and other patterns, tutorials on Custom Tied's website at www.custom-tied.com. That's CUSTOM-TIED.com. Have a splash. Don't forget the dash. Happy tying.